After a week off from reviewing games, I found that I was still slacking in writing the script for the game I really wanted to do this week. So instead of that, I decided to work on Altered Beast, an early Genesis game that I had started playing the focus on a few weeks away. Well, this one got bumped up, because for me, this one was an easy game to play and collect my thoughts on paper. Typically, most people I've talked to about Altered Beast really enjoy it. I'm not a part of that crowd. I've always thought that the game was boring. I'm not going into detail, don't worry. You play as some dead Greek soldier that is resurrected from death by Zeus. The reason for this is that Athena was abducted by some demon named Neph. Neph? Who the hell is Neph? I'd say I'm pretty knowledgeable about Greek mythology, but I don't ever recall reading about some bastard named Neph who has the powers to kidnap a freaking goddess. Why didn't they just use Hades? That would have at least made more sense. Anyway, you navigate the soldier through 5 stages, jumping further into hell to chase Neph down. If it's not immediately apparent, this game is an action game. The screen automatically scrolls right while the soldier walks slowly around, punching and kicking enemies. Once you reach Neph, 2 things can happen. If you're fully powered up and in your beast form, Neph will shapeshift with the worst animation done in MS Paint ever into a boss. Defeating the boss gets you to the next stage. If you're not in your beast form, the stage will continue on loop, giving you more chances to change. What is this beast form? Well, that's the name of the game. As you're walking around the stage, you'll encounter these blue pig-looking things. Smack them and an orb will pop up, rotating upwards on the screen. Grabbing one of these will power up the hero of the game, giving him really just more range. Grabbing 3 of these power-ups will change the soldier into a creature that gives him even more abilities. In stage 1, you become a wolf creature that can throw a fireball and do a forward rushing attack. In stage 2, you become a dragon. Level 3 is a bear, which has the worst crouching animation ever. Come on, we all know what this looks like. Level 4 turns you into a tiger, and then finally in stage 5, another wolf. If you're quick enough, you won't even use these forms often, because the game will often throw you the blue pigs and then the boss right after, to see if you were quick enough. So if you're good at grabbing all the orbs, meaning you memorize the stages, the levels can last about a minute or 2 before you're fighting the boss. And with only 5 stages, that means that this game can be really short. But it's definitely difficult, at least I feel so. That's because the combat of the game can be a bit sketchy. Basically, here's the controls. C jumps, B does a low kick, and A punches. If you crouch, B does an upwards kick, which is almost completely useless, and A still punches forward. Some enemies can take a few hits until you grab an orb or 2, and that's where the problem lies. Some enemies have a much longer range than you and don't really give you a chance to attack without taking damage yourself. And if you get stuck in a bad spot, you can easily lose a life without even trying. Gotta love getting juggled between 2 enemies without a chance to retaliate. Anyway, once you grab an orb or 2 to increase your range, you'll find that the combat gets infinitely easier. But even so, there are enemies that you'll have some trouble with, like the ones that hold the skulls. They're one of the types that will attack you with a higher range than you, so you can either try to time your strikes, or just attempt to bum rush them. And then you have the bosses. Some can be exploited a bit with your beast form to make the battle stupidly simple, but then others are an exercise in patience and frustration. The first boss isn't so bad, as long as you keep throwing those fireballs and dodge the strange heads that keep getting thrown at you. The second boss is some sort of floating eye thing, and at first I wasn't sure if I was actually damaging it. Then I realized I could just edge myself close to the boss and just keep using my electric attack, and that would eventually destroy it. But the most frustrating to me was the stage 4 boss. It only had 2 attacks, one to throw a firebird and one to throw a horizontal blast of flame, both of which do massive damage, more so the fire blast. The firebird can be easily destroyed if you can time your attacks to be done with the blasts. I've tried being aggressive, but the best way I found is to just stand at the far left of the screen, throw fireballs while crouching, and hope they hit, and then take care of the bird that's probably getting near you. The problem is that the fire blasts block your projectiles, so timing needs to be perfect. But even worse, these attacks can kill you quickly. Speaking of health, you do have 3 bars that change colors. The normal enemies won't take too much off of that, unless you get caught in between 2 enemies almost like a beat 'em up. Some bosses can destroy your health bar though, but here's the catch. To my knowledge, there are no ways to replenish your life. Even completing a stage won't refresh you, which sucks because it's not cool to finish a stage with 1 bar left, to start the next and get killed on the very first enemy. Oh, and again, to my knowledge, no extra lives. Then again, I usually didn't get far before having to continue. I usually played a stage, died at the boss, and then played it again much easily because I knew where the blue pigs were. Although there are continues, they are hidden. In order to continue, you press start while holding A on the title screen. Why do continues have to be hidden? What is the purpose? The music of the game, honestly, I think sucks. It's not something I prefer to listen to and really sounds like an early Sega game. The sound effects aren't terrible, although listening to the voices are fairly impressive. There's not a lot of voices, mind you, but hearing it in an early game like Altered Beast was pretty nifty. Right from the start when you hear the scratchy rise from your grave, to the Neff battles where he yells welcome to your doom. It's pretty sweet, I must admit. As for the graphics, they're a mixed bag. A lot of the game has some good detail, like the environments, the enemies, and even the player, and even the cool effect that occurs when some of the enemies die. Your Greek soldier hits them so hard that the enemies get blown apart in bloody chunks. Awesome! The first stage also has some neat effects where graves rise and block your path, but sadly, this makes the first stage the best of the game, because the other 4 stages are kind of mediocre in comparison. Anyway, back to the graphics. There are some lame animations. I've already mentioned the stupid smoke effect when you see Neff change into the boss. But what about when changing into your altered beast form? I thought that was pretty cheesy too. I'm sure there are people out there that think it was cool looking, but again, I'm not one of them. That's really all I have. Altered Beast to me just isn't a very fun game. The stages can be way too short, and the difficulty ranges inconsistently, depending on how far you're powered up and what stage you're on. The graphics are fairly decent, but the sound is just plain meh. I know there are plenty of people out there that enjoy this game and play it regularly to kill it half an hour, but me? I'll pass. Final score? 5 out of 10. This is Reaper. Happy fragging.